This electronic display, emanating from Australia's largest computer, is a picture of the condition, past, present and future of planet Earth. The program was originally devised by a scientist working from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, J. Forrester. It was developed under the auspices of the Club of Rome by an MIT research team to present a complex model of the world and what we humans are doing to it. The program, called World 1, doesn't pretend to be a precise forecast. What it does for the first time in man's history on the planet is to look at the world as one system. It shows that Earth cannot sustain present population and industrial growth for much more than a few decades. It shows that simply cleaning up our car exhausts and making some small effort to limit our families simply isn't enough. It's like an electronic guided tour of our global behaviour since 1900 and where that behaviour will lead us. Well, this is the printed version of what we've just seen on the television screen. And what looks at first to be just a maze of computer characteristics is really a system of very simple graphs which project what's going to happen to the planet over the next 150 years if we don't do something drastic to stop it. Down the left-hand side of the graph is the date, 1900, 1940, 1980, 2020, right down to 2060. Now, each of these lines of letters represents a curve showing some aspect of the condition of the planet. The further out this way they go, the greater that figure is. The further this way, the less. For example, P represents population. So here it is at 1900. And then it comes up to 1940, it starts to take off. Here we are at 1980, up to the turn of the century, and then it starts to peter off. Let's now have a look at this next curve, the Q curve, which is the quality of life. And this is represented by, for example, the amount of space people have, the amount of money they have to spend, the amount of food they have to eat. Now, it increases rapidly up to 1940, but from 1940 on, the quality of life diminishes. And here we are about the turn of the century, and we come up to the year 2020, and it's really come right back. More people, of course, means that you start to chew up your supply of natural resources. And this is this curve here, the N curve. And it shows that slowly but steadily, the pool of natural wealth in the world, natural resources, minerals, oil, and so on, is slowly but steadily diminishing. So this is the situation. As population increases, the quality of life decreases and the supply of natural resources decreases. But have a look at this curve here. This is called the Z curve, and it represents pollution. Now, predictably enough, as the population increases up to 1980, pollution increases. There's more rubbish. But from 1980 to the year 2020, pollution really takes off. This is assuming, of course, that we don't do anything about it. So the year 2020, the condition of the planet starts to become highly critical. And if we don't do anything about it, this is what's going to happen. The quality of life is going to go right back to practically zero. Pollution is going to become so serious, right out here, that it will start to kill people. So the population will diminish. Right back here, less than it was in the year 1900. And at this stage, around about the year 2040, 2050, civilized life as we know it on this planet will cease to exist. Well, hopefully, of course, it won't be allowed to happen. But it's taken this kind of shock treatment to nudge governments into doing something, and slowly we are. We're starting to clean up our atmosphere. We're starting to recycle our rubbish. We're doing something positive about population control. But so far, our efforts have really been just a drop in the ocean.
This equation has four factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. If we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
After the news broke of a deadly outbreak, the CDC recommended everyone get tested so the government could identify those who need to be vaccinated by evaluating their genetic markers.
Next. You're collecting everyone's DNA.
After 9/11, people were more than willing to allow the NSA to collect all of their personal data, as long as it kept them safe. And now everyone will be safe from another threat. Only this time, it will be disease instead of terrorism.
What do you plan to do with all this data?
We're going to ensure that everyone has the same opportunity as you, Jeff. The opportunity to live up to their full potential. It's a simple calculation. Once everyone's DNA is stored in the National Healthcare Database, then they just need to be sorted.
Sorted? In order to accomplish what?
To get us through the next great filter, of course.
And what filter is that?
Our own savage history.
See some of the great villains of British literature. Literature for children. Cruella de Vil, 101 Dalmatians, Voldemort from Harry Potter, and the Child Catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. All British creations originally.
Worthless. Worthless.
What about this quarantine?
Yeah, how serious is this monkey flu? Not serious at all, because it's not true. See, the government likes to covertly test the emergency response system every once in a while to see how people mobilize, the authorities respond, and the public react.
Oh, wait a minute. So this is just a drill?
Exactly.
From a place of great beauty, vast cities, massive oceans, much like Earth. Though unlike you, we don't divide ourselves into countries. We're one united people.
You've all passed the test.
Test for what?
To ensure that you're not a visitor. In order to walk among us, they disguised their appearance by cloning human flesh over their own reptilian skin. I thought everyone here was up to speed. But the visitors didn't just get here. They've been here for years.
You said we're the only other intelligent life you've encountered in your travels.
Yes. Humanity is a rare gift. One we hold in the highest regard.
For decades, they've been implementing a plan that will result in the extermination of every man, woman, and child on the face of this earth.
We're honored and privileged to be able to assist mankind with our knowledge and technology. Truth be told, it stirs great emotion in us.
So you are emotional beings?
We are. But we've evolved to quickly process and expel all negative feelings. Happiness, we've learned, comes from tranquility and peace.
These posing as humans established themselves in all facets of life, whether it be business, government, religion, the military. It took years. And once embedded among us, they set out to cause worldwide instability. Unnecessary wars, economic meltdown, faith twisted into extremism.
If you could speak to the protesters, what would you say?
That embracing change is never easy, but the reward for doing so can be far greater than anything you can imagine. Tonight, we're announcing the expansion of our healing centers. The goal is to open one in every major city across the world.
The final stage of the Visitors' Plan began with them revealing themselves to us. They gained trust with the promise of friendship and technology, and of course, all they're really doing is positioning themselves as the saviors of mankind.
The intent goes beyond just healing. We want to provide complete medical services to all.
You're talking about universal health care.
I believe that's what you call it, yes.
By the time people figure this out, it'll be too late. They'll take over unless we can stop them.
R6.
What the hell is R6?
It's what they're putting in their vitamin shot.
They're experimenting on people.
Is that the vitamin shot?
No. It's the flu vaccine.
What, human vaccine?
They're not mixing their drug into the vitamin shot. They're mixing it into our flu vaccine. Shipment leaves tomorrow. They did everything from here. Tested it on humans, packaged it to look like the flu shot.
When this shipment mingles with the real shots, no one will be able to tell the difference.
And no government agency's gonna be worrying about a flu vaccine when they gotta feed vitamin to evaluate.
Which in all likelihood is nothing more than a vitamin shot. They know exactly how to play us. The media bombards us with stories of epidemics, pandemics. So we run out, we get a shot to protect ourselves. That's what the V's are counting on, our predictability, our human nature. It's very calculated, isn't it?
Everything that Anna does is calculated.
So what, we stop doing what makes us human?
All I'm saying is the more predictable we are, the more vulnerable we are.
So what did you find out?
Examination of the R6 using human technology revealed nothing more than a simple saline shot. But when I used our equipment, I found something quite different. R6 has a molecular compound that embeds itself in human DNA. It interacts with the human genome, then emits a wavelength of sorts, like a transmission.
So she's tagging humans like animals in the wild.
This is Concordia. The humans think they're building their future. They're digging their own graves.
For too long, we the visitors have been the sole beneficiaries of our scientific advances. Advances that upon our arrival, I promised we would share.
And so today, it is a momentous occasion as the next phase of construction of Concordia sites around the globe will begin.
Fulfilling our promise for a more peaceful and prosperous tomorrow.
Heavy rain has not dampened the excitement here, where Visitor High Commander Anna has thrown a ceremonial virtual switch
to turn on the planet's first blue energy reactor, one of 538 around the world.
Well, one question comes to mind, Chad. Are we completely nuts? Have scientists examined blue energy? For all we know, it could give off radiation that turns us into brain-dead zombies.
Well, that's a little dramatic, don't you think, Carrie? It's what we don't know. That's the point of Concordia, giving the visitors an opportunity to share their vast knowledge with mankind.
So Anna's opened the candy store and the candy's free, huh? Well, I, for one, say be careful what you eat. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
Now that the blue energy reactors are functional, construction of Concordia sites around the globe can begin.
Once they are completed, landing sites for our breeding ships will be ready.
And then the annihilation of humanity can begin.
Morning, Commander. Most of our population is dying or dead. We have no allies. We have no enemies. Just a world of sick, desperate people.
80% of the world's population is infected. Global pandemic.
Our mission now is simple. Stay alive until they find that cure.
We have the cure. Now, we have to distribute them to the populace.
Whether you like it or not, you're Noah, and that ship is your ark.
There are people who want the cure so badly, they're willing to do anything for it, including kill.
Holy Mother.
They were lined up and executed.
We're spared because we're special. We are the rightful inheritors of the earth.
Their mission is to destroy the cure wherever it exists.
They're bombing the labs.
Phoenix, destroyed, no survivors. Salt Lake, destroyed, no survivors. Madison, Topeka, gone.
When you find the people who did this, kill them.
My beloved immunes, America has a new president, and he is one of us.
I don't know how deep in he is, but he has drunk some of the Kool-Aid, that's for sure. One way or another, we're getting our commander-in-chief out of here.
I'm the president of the United States, and this is treason.
To the captain of the USS Nathan James, there will be no safe harbor.
That sub is the mission now.
Have you forgotten what we're all doing here? Find the cure. Save the world. Remember?
Don't let this sub become your white whale.
Batteries released on every target you got now!
Prepare to dive! Dive!
The last thing she ever felt was her father betraying her. How do I live with that? As a soldier, you want someone to salute to.
It's time to turn the tide and heal this great nation.
You were able to kill 5 billion people. I'm gonna undo what you did.
That's the cure! All you have to do is breathe it in!
It worked. Your cure. It's a miracle.
Subs locked on us! They're going to fire! Prepare to fire!
Cheers, asshole. Tomorrow, the fight for America and the rest of the world begins.
Talking Boys believes enough is enough with the anti-Trump movement. Man won the election, give him a chance.
And now you're gonna run for president. Don't you think that's a really cool idea, you guys? You'll keep them honest. You'll keep them honest, Donald. Personally, I hope you win, because I can't wait for the the inauguration.
This will be the year the American people say enough is enough. This will finally be the year the American people say enough is enough. Enough is enough.
It was the American people saying enough is enough. They're fed up.
And say enough is enough.
Say enough is enough.
Talk about Caligula, Stalin, Trump. I mean, I know he's not dead, but he's definitely going.
This kind of behavior in this country.
Donald Trump gets stabbed to death.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
In other news tonight, we apparently have 100 seconds before everything ends. Like, you know, Armageddon, no humans left type stuff. Well, that is according to the doomsday clock. Now, I'm sorry, kids watching tonight, we aren't trying to frighten you, and I bet you're wondering why we didn't lead with that story, considering, you know, the urgency. Well, now's your time to ask your folks or Alexa what the words symbolism and metaphor mean.
It is 100 seconds to midnight.
On Thursday, the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists moved the doomsday clock closer to midnight. And you would need a mop for the drool coming out of headline editors' mouths. USA Today being my personal favorite. Hear that ticking? That's doomsday coming.
1555, the prophet Nostradamus foretold a terrifying series of predictions, all of which came to pass. First, his own death. Second, large wars in Europe, similar to the large wars he observed in Europe, and the breakup of Fleetwood Mac. But Nostradamus' final quatrain contained one more prediction yet to come, that shortly after the Antichrist becomes president,
a flaming mushroom spreads across the sky.
The champagne is terrible. It tastes like dryer sheets. But what does said mushroom signify? Nothing less than World War III.
Esteemed members of the cooperative, world leaders, tech giants, media moguls, and cultural influencers. The rumors you've heard are true. My name is Michael Langdon, and I am the Antichrist. Humanity is at a crossroads. The world as it is today, the poverty, the hunger, the greed and war, it's no longer sustainable. The time has come to wipe the slate clean. Friends, it's time for the apocalypse. I understand your trepidation. But let me remind you that you are here because of the gifts bestowed upon you by my father. In return, you gave him your immortal souls. He owns you. Therefore, I own you. We speak with one voice, and my demands are his. Now, as you'll see from the handy guide provided by my associate, I do not intend to leave you and your families to die. When fire rains down on the unwashed masses, you and your families will be safely squirreled away in a network of luxury fallout shelters. You already have the resources. You just bought land on New Zealand's South Island. You own half of Bora Bora. The bunker underneath your ranch in Texas could easily fit 20 people. With a little construction and some retrofitting, these sites will make the perfect outposts to ride out the end of the world.
We're here to talk about the end of the world. We stand on the brink of Armageddon, diseases for which we have no cure. Fundamentalist states who call for our destruction, nuclear powers over which we have no control. And even if we navigate these dangerous waters, we face other, even more inevitable threats. Global warming will melt the polar ice caps within 80 years, flooding 90% of all habitable areas on Earth. Unchecked population growth will overtake food production in less than 50 years, leading to famine and war. This is not conjecture. This is fact. One way or another, our world is coming to an end. Now the question is, will we end with it?
What do you propose?
I propose that we end the world, but on our terms. An orchestrated apocalypse. One that will cleanse the earth of its population but leave its infrastructure and resources intact. It's been done once before, with great success. The chosen few will ride out the storm, not in an ark as in the book of Genesis, but in safety, underground. And when it's over, we will emerge onto a cleansed earth, one that we can then reboot in our image.
And just how do you intend to achieve this?
The means of our salvation are already at hand. I give to you the T-virus.
The multiverse. Every existence multiplied by possibility and spread out in infinite measure. Now there is a malevolent force at work, one driven by a singular goal, the destruction of all there is.
There's a wave of antimatter sweeping across this universe, destroying everything in its path.
What'd you do?
Steve?
No. Groot. No. Something's happening.
I don't feel so good.
You're all right.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Hurry. I don't want to go. I don't want to go, sir. Please. Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm sorry.
Winter is coming.
2020 could be the darkest winter in modern history.